Hello, world.
Hi, Mr. Rogers.
So we're here for our weekly memorization, and it's going to be live. So thank you.
Yep, you're up. Come on, director.
What you doing today, Erick?
I'm just going to talk about my adversity.
Okay. What university?
My anniversary.
Your anniversary? How long has it been?
It's been 23 years.
Quiet on the set. 3, 2.
Hi, my name is Eric, and this is my 15th week here at Larson, the Stanford of Career Training Schools. And I don't have a poem for you today, so I'm going to discuss my adversity paper, which I'll be finishing up next week. It's on Ignatius of Loyola, who was the founder of the Jesuit organization. I picked this subject when I started coming to school. Our director, he went to a Jesuit school, and then I met Father Max, who's also a Jesuit, and I took interest in their organization. It was suggested to me to do my paper on Ignatius. Anyway, he was born in 1491, and he was brought up in a pretty well-to-do family. But he was kind of a troublemaker. He was a gambler. There's rumor that he had illegitimate children. And there's even he had a serious felony of some kind. And it's rumor, there's a possibility it could have been murder. But with his connections at the time, he was let off. So at the time he was growing up, not many people thought he would walk in the footsteps of Jesus of Nazareth. He was more of a criminal on that. But he always had seek glory. And so the French were invading Spain, and he was involved with the army, the armed forces, let's say, and they were defending the citadel from the French. And he took a very serious wound from a cannonball, and that was in the early stages of weaponry. So it was a very crude weapon, and it was made out of concrete, the cannonball. Anyway, it shattered his hip and his knee. And back then there was no, pain medication, anything like that. But he wouldn't surrender. And he wanted to fight to the death. He did not want to give up that citadel. So the French, actually, he gained their respect. So when they finally did have to surrender, the French showed him some love. They took him back to the Castle of Loyola, where he was from in Spain, and he embarked on a long healing process, which was very painful. On the way to the castle, he was actually, it was so of a bad wound that he was given his last rites. They didn't think that he would make it, but he did, and he was still very involved in his looks. So he actually had his legs stretched out for days on end. They tried stretching it, and all that did was make it worse. So he walked with a limp for the rest of his life. And instead of being able to go back, being a ladies' man and all that, when he was lying in bed, he started reading books about God, because that was all that was available to him at the time. And so he was doing these readings. And so he more or less chose that path. But he went about it in a real cruel method. He decided to do penance to his own body as a way of, I don't, many of you aren't Catholic, but it was kind of a confession to God. But he would beat himself. He would starve himself. He lived like a vagrant. He lived in caves, this, that, and the other thing. Well, finally, I'll get to the point. He met up with a few guys when he did start to get his act together, and they decided to form this group, the Sacred Heart of Jesus. They were the companions of they were the first Jesuits, and their whole idea wasn't being a monk, hiding in a cave, beating yourself. They wanted to be out in the world and spreading the word and taking care of the poor, the disenfranchised. So that's what they did, and that's the story behind them. And in modern times, you might have heard of them being involved in conflicts in El Salvador. You know, they would take up causes with the guerrillas there, or other countries that people were being persecuted. They would take up the persecuted side. So they were involved in a lot of political and sometimes shady dealings. But in my opinion, it was always for the good of mankind. So I was taken with the Jesuits. I love their organization, and I love what they do. And they have some hell of basketball teams. And with that, that's all I had to say for today. Thank you.
Quiet on set. 3, 2.
Hello, my name is Jose Berdine. I'm here at Larson's. I'm going to do a poem from Dylan Thomas, who also has done Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night. But this is another poem that I saw. I saw it and I immediately liked it. The internet got cut off, so I couldn't find out what the title was. But I'm going to do that one. It's by Dylan Thomas. I hold a beast, an angel, and a madman in me. And my inquiry is as to their working. Start over. I'm sorry. Start over.
Good.
Start over.
Quiet on set. 3, 2.
Doing a memorization poem by Dylan Thomas. Title unknown. I hold a beast, an angel, and a madman in me. And my inquiry is as to their working. And my problem is their subjugation and victory, down throw and upheaval. And my effort is their self-expression.
What you doing, bro? Which one you doing, bro?
If
Yeah, Philip, okay.
It's on the money one.
Got it. Really?
It's my girlfriend.
Really? It's on both sides.
They're both my girls.
All right. Quiet on set. 3, 2.
Good afternoon. I'm William Engel, and welcome to Larson's Training Center. I'm going to do If by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs, and blame it on you, and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't give in to lies. Or being hated, don't give way to hating. And yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can Think and not make thoughts your aim. If you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters both the same. If you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch. If neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Quiet on the set. 3, 2.
Hi, my name is Robert McLean. For my weekly memorization, I'm going to perform a feat of prestidigitation. Got a regular dollar bill and a regular old pen. We're going to shove this dollar bill through the pen and not make a hole. Okay. And then it goes. It's got a break. There it goes. Then we pull it out. Open it back up. And no hole.
Billy or Rodney?
That's all that's left. You and Billy. Which one? Talk about your adversity.
Go and talk about Abraham Lincoln Vampire Killer. Come on.
Go ahead, close it. Close out.
No, you close up.
That will be the end of our weekly memorization, and we hope to see you next week. Join us again next Friday.
Bill.
Oh, well.